Welcome, everybody. I'm joined by Jared from the Players Committee. I almost called you guys the Players Council. That's the Lord of the Rings one. But you guys are the Players Committee with the Star Wars CCG group. And we're here to talk about the donations program, which actually just opened today. So I didn't know about this program like 2 years ago, and I've been donating since then. And it's been a lot of fun, a nice little thing to get in the mail, as well as supporting a good cause. But Jared, can you kind of introduce yourself? You've been on here before, but it's been a little while, and then kind of give the spiel of what this program is and what it goes to fund.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Jared Napolitano. I'm the marketing advocate. So I'm one of the 7 advocates on the Advocate Council who manage a lot of the aspects of the game, or pretty much all the aspects of the game, really. And the donations program started, I guess, coming up on about 10 years ago, because the Players Committee, Inc. was incorporated as a charitable organization around 2012. And that's where a couple years after that, the advocates at the time considered doing like a Kickstarter process, which a lot of not-for-profits or charitable organizations do. Like, I'll donate to the Pennsylvania Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, PCA.
Yeah.
And you give some money and they give you like a calendar as like a thank you, or you donate to your college and they'll give you, like some wrapping paper, or like little kind of
thing. The mailing labels. That's when
Yeah. So that concept of doing that started around 2015, 2016. From my understanding, it was Keith Brown, who's still one of the advocates. He's a communications advocate, and just started the program. And basically, it was this tiered system where, if you donate, I think at that point, it went down to like $10. Like $10, you get this, and $25, you get these thank yous, and I'm 50 and 100. And it just kind of evolved from 2015, 16, 17, 18. I started getting involved in the program and helping out Scott, the lead advocate, around 2020, just to try to help get the incentives all batched and sent out the door. And then same with 2021, I was getting really involved. And then the 2022 program was probably my first program where I was the marketing advocate, because I was brought on in March 2021. And that's when the 2022 program was the first year we brought in the deck boxes. And that's when it really soared to a new high.
Those are super cool products. Can you kind of tell folks, like, what does this go to fund, right? Like, this game's out of print, so like people ask, like, where does this donation go? Like, what are the kind of things that it goes to fund?
Yeah, absolutely. So over time, the funding structure, we'll say, of the Players Committee, we have the PC store, which is a source of income. We run events and we collect registration fees for those events, especially major events. We do prize kits for regional events or state championship events or league kits.
Sure.
And those are the types, and then also the donations source of income, we'll say. So those are really the main sources. But over time, it's just, just for one reason or another, it's kind of shifted, and the donations program has become a broader or a bigger chunk of the pie, we'll say.
Yeah.
And what that goes to is really like everything, is how I phrase it, because with each event we do, we don't really say like, oh, these inflows are going specifically to this, and these inflows are going specifically to this. It's kind of the PC. We're not the biggest organization, so we don't have like a super duper sophisticated financial
overhead stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not doing like overhead allocations and stuff like that. But we do have a lot of expenses. We do a lot of things, and I would say some of the biggest items are prize support. Really, since I came on, and I'll take a step back, because when I was referencing the donations program and how it was kind of taking evolved really in that 2020, 2021, 2022 frame. With COVID, we were doing a lot more events online, exclusively online for a stretch there. So we really were forced to become more capable of holding an event, obtaining addresses, packaging stuff up, shipping it out. We had to print the items. Sometimes they're just foil slips of virtual cards. Sometimes they're like keychains or like chips, like you name it. And then gradually, we just had to become more sophisticated, because the way prize support used to work was Chris Goglin, our PC store manager, like if you earned something, like he would kind of give it to you at the major, or if you had a PC store order, he would like batch it together. There just weren't that many ways to earn prize support besides going to an in-person event and getting it. So because we got a lot more sophisticated at, maintaining a spreadsheet, maintaining a Rolodex, it became just a lot more capable. And with the growth that a lot of people came back to the game in 2020, 2021, combination again of people being stuck in their homes for a while, and then also just new IP and new shows coming out. So people were interested coming back. They discovered GEMP, which is play.starwarsccg.org, which also was a huge factor in bringing people back to the game, that you could play this super complicated game online. But that actually segues me back to, what does this all pay for? So prize support, so trophies for events, all types of prizes for online events. Most online events are either free or they're like a pretty small registration fee. But then we incur expenses to ship it. We'll ship it internationally. We have lots of players in Europe who participate in these
Well, I have
events.
to imagine like the servers are also a cost,
Oh
right?
yeah, of course. Yeah, like yeah, AWS, maintenance. Anytime like we have these in-person streaming events, we gradually are just always trying to get more professional with the whole organization. So marketing, promotional materials. Like I have like these charts, like little stuff like this. Like we're paying for to produce these kind of off of the old Hyperroute navigation chart, but it just has like all systems ever made, and it just has promotional items. So stuff like this costs money, and there's no, or I shouldn't say that, the inflow to pay for this is like the donations program, for example. Or I have another example, like we had one of our really active players go to a signing for Timothy Zahn, and he's
Ooh,
Chimera AI, alternate image, and Grand Admiral Thrawn. So we have these that they cost money to get them signed, but we're now going to use these for event prizes. I'm not. It's a good problem to have when we have prizes and we don't know exactly what we're going to use them yet, but we try to organically. It usually emerges of, oh, this would be a good prize for this event. So prize support, trophies are not cheap. Surprisingly so. I shouldn't say
I
that.
just want to say that, like, I did the Retro League this year, and the prize support has been just really good the last couple of years. You guys, I mean, it does incentivize me to like try a little harder in games, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to just take the
Yeah.
L. And just as a reminder to folks that maybe you've never worked with PC, but you guys are all volunteers. It's not going to salaries.
Exactly.
That's not at all a part of this. It's
Very
all
important point.
volunteer work.
Yeah, there's no commissions for this stuff. It's all going back into the PC, and which is why, in some ways, it's almost like people's opportunity once a year or within this window, like 3 to 4 months a year, to just say, "Hey, thanks PC for doing the free stuff or doing stuff that you've subsidized a lot." Like again, like a big expense that we have is doing these in-person major events where we're paying for hotel space for a venue, which is a couple grand. We're shipping all the streaming equipment to them. That's not free. We're generating prizes that are, physical, sometimes hats or cups or giveaway items, stuff like that. None of
I have
that's
a cool beanie from you guys.
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I
So
mean, the best way I've thought about like what this program is it's just like an investment in the game, right?
mhm,
There's no company that's going to print this stuff anymore. There's no Decipher to come in, then they're never getting the license back. But like this is generally a way to invest in the game, in the community, because the PC is really the flagship for that stuff and wants to
mhm.
keep the lights on.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for years and years, like I said, the PC store would like underlie and support. But as you were aware with those great episodes that you do with like the state of the game, it became very competitive over a stretch there for a while with different markets kind of especially like in the buy side or the supply side, whichever one makes sense to describe it. But like, so just over time, and we've been pretty fortunate that there's usually a way to support the initiatives that we want to do. Or very rarely we're like, hey, we'd like to do this. I mean, within reason, we want to do this. Does it kind of fit in the budget? And it's like, I mean, we don't. Again, we're not like a Fortune 500 company with like a financial planning and analysis arm that we're doing like a very detailed thing. But I think I'm the only accountant. I'm definitely the only accountant on the Advocate Council. So I've been looking at that, and also because a lot of the expenses are prize support, I always want to most checking myself and making sure like I'm not going too crazy here with these things, and we're in a good status, and definitely the support that we've had over the last few years, last 3-4 years in the donations program, are a huge part of why we're able to do trophies for events and why we're able to have a lot of events that quote unquote lose money, and that's totally fine. That's part of the mission, is to hold these events. We're not trying to profit. We're not paying anybody for them, but we need to kind of have a balance of not, going completely bankrupt and not having any money
Yeah,
to do.
absolutely. And I mean, I think donations programs are a way of establishing reoccurring income, which can be really
Mm,
problematic for 501(c)(3)s. I've sat on like the board of one, and like it is a hot mess, like the finance stuff of it. So, okay, so we got a little history of the program, what the program grows to fund. Let's talk about the prizes, right? Like I've got probably some of the favorite things I have in my collection are from you guys.
mhm,
I think the prize support's been pretty incredible. I'm going to just like add in a little chart here that
mhm,
kind of goes through all the prizes.
mhm,
So this is also a charitable donation. So for you guys that itemize
mhm.
or do whatever, like you can absolutely deduct this from your
Yeah,
taxes.
we'll give you the support for that. Mhm.
Yeah, this is sort of the tiers. I think it's what, 4 tiers. You want to walk us through this a little bit?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So I refer to this as the grid, and it changes a little bit each year. This just to make sure we're keeping up with people's preferences. We did a survey back in, I think it was like the summer was when it was sent out, like a post donations program survey, just to get a handle on what are the things that people like the most, what do they like the least, what things should we keep doing, which things should we stop doing. So this I'll say is like a consolidation year, because I have been getting feedback that, hey, I didn't get all the series 1 and series 2 boxes, which there's 6 of each. So I thought this was a good opportunity to again allow people to get the ones they want within reason. Based on demand and anticipated demand and stock that I have, I still do have some left over. We ordered more of a bunch of them, so pretty much all of them are available except for Radis, and there's a few that I have very little on. And there's just constraints to manage. Like I can't just order like 1,000 boxes and have them chilling out until so trying to balance and anticipate the program. But like, so to some extent it'll be first come, first serve, but I'm confident that most of the boxes, if you donate within the first like week, you're maybe even two, maybe in the first month, honestly, like I have enough boxes based on history to anticipate those. And the big new item I would say is, again, another box. It's this third anthology size box, or any anthology size box. It's the Dark Saber. We got this great artwork, and you'll see this in the pictures, but it's basically like the size of a anthology box. It's real shiny, and people. One thing I've been amazed about, people really like card storage solutions as prizes. I think
Yes.
one thing I want to do at some point is like dividers of some sort within their their big white boxes.
I would even say like deck boxes, just also like the little ones, like you sit like fit like 100 cards in there, like the Dragon Shield, like that's handy just because it's nice to have a way of just putting your decks in there. You can grab one. But yeah, I agree completely. Stored card storage solutions are clutch because everyone has too many damn cards. So it's like finding stylish ways of hiding them away from our significant others is key.
For sure. Yeah, we've tried to do a blend this year of, again, some things that people like, but maybe they didn't get a chance to get. Like you'll see in this picture here, the shield sleeves, we call them. So they're customized. They got the logo they would use for your shields, but we've had them the last couple of years. But for the most part, people, hey, pick one of 3 items. So maybe they pick one. Okay, the next year, let me pick the second one, and then the third year, maybe I could pick it too. Or worst case scenario, you get something if you have everything already. If you're someone who's donated for the last 4 or 5 years, you can always trade items for other things that you might want with other people. But we always say don't sell the stuff, don't resell it. And then we also do introduce new items like the cooler bag. Like some of these items we use at major events, but only sometimes we have 30, sometimes we have 60 people who go. Like the cooler bag was used at World Championships and the European Championships, but that combined was around 100 people. But they're really good. I used it when I went to a football game recently. Just threw some beverages in there, and they're very helpful, practical. You could put the deck box in there too if you want to go to an event. You could use it, put your deck box in there, put a couple of other extraneous items you want, and just carry it around, almost like what do you call them? Those belly bags. So there's like this functional stuff. There's like the card stuff, like the sleeves. There's collecting stuff like the poker chips. There's apparel like the hat. And there's all these options. So if you can go back to the grid, and then the foils, the exclusive alternate image foil slip this year is going to be the Hunt Down and Destroy the Jedi virtual objective, which is really cool. I'm actually expecting a patch of them any day now. And then we brought back something that we did a couple years ago where we allowed people to customize their own foil sheet. And there's a picture on that post of them, and you can kind of you could do a theme if you want, or you could just get cards you really like and just print and cut them up if you want. They do have, like, we'll call it like a white border, and that's a way to delineate them from other foil slips that we use as prizes, which are black borders. So that's a pretty cool item. People can pick from a huge list of all virtual full slips ever made, going back to like 2014 in the post reset era. We have a free event voucher, which players will use. One thing I do want to say is just like those deck boxes. I think another thing they did was they really opened up the program. It opened up a lot of aspects of the community to collectors and retro players as well. Even like the gist of this is that, hey, an open deck, if you double sleeve it, you got your shields. You can't fit that in the traditional Decipher boxes because they're just smaller. So with like the evolution of a game, that's helpful. But at the same time, like, they're pretty cool collector's items, and people who just strictly collect. I was amazed, honestly, last year and the year before, how many people, and we polled this in the survey just out of curiosity, how many people are like strictly collectors who do donate. So It's really cool to see just the diversity of. It's not just your core open players who are participating in this program or using these incentives, who these incentives are appealing to.
So I think that this is one of the things I've discovered, doing this YouTube stuff for almost 2 years now, is that this game has a lot of fans, right?
Mhm.
And not all those fans are players. Not all of them are collectors.
Yeah.
People like this game and they want it to continue. And so this sort of program is the closest thing you're going to find to ever continuing the game or getting the license, whatever, printing, whatever, like fantasy, you see pop up once a month where it's like, what do I, this is the closest thing you're ever going to get. And this is a way once a year of writing off something on your taxes, get some cool prizes, and supporting a really great group of people that are working to keep this game going.
Mhm.
So that's my pitch on like why folks should do this. I've done it the last 2 years.
Mhm.
I've already kind of looking at some of the prizes, and I'm like, these are kind of fun.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
two more quick points, Matt. I just want to say is one, if you're out there, you're not familiar with GEMP, as you mentioned, Matt, it does, requires upkeep. We have someone actually right now who's just working through their features list, and some people might be familiar. There's the GEMP requested features list is like many, many, many pages long. And a lot of the stuff is just like very, very nice to have. And it's like, we need someone who has this unique blend of time available, know with all of the game, which is a very complicated game, and also programming skills. So
yes,
you have someone who's working through that stuff, um, and that is one of the many things that this type of inflows are going towards helping. And the other thing I wanted to mention too, if you scroll down just a little bit more on the grid, one of the new items, and again, when we did the survey, we found out people really like playmats. So we're doing this big playmat this year that's a Hoth theme, which we really like because that appeals to, old school people, retro players. It appeals to new school people. And if we did something that was like a sequel trilogy, which sometimes could be controversial, it wouldn't have as much appeal. But this, we feel like, pretty much everyone loves Empire Strikes Back and Hoth. So that one's really cool. Looking forward to that. That's something that we won't print until the very end. So we make sure we have an appropriate amount of them. We don't want to print a certain number and then run out or have to do a whole fresh.
I love playmats, man. I think they're so fun. I mean, also as someone who does videos, it's
Mhm.
kind of boring just look at your hands and you don't want to just have them on a table. It's just a
Yeah,
nice drop.
yeah, it's a
So
good.
I've got my eye on that one.
Mhm.
Is there an image of that on the forums here?
It's in the video. So
Okay.
if you go, so the key thing, and maybe we'll plug this at the end too, but like starwarsccg.org/donations. It's pretty easy to remember, starwarsccg.org/donations. So in that, there's going to be a couple of links to other things. There'll be one video of me explaining a lot of aspects of the program, a lot of things that are easier to explain in video rather than typing it all out. But in that video, there is the image of the playmat. There's the image of the Hunt Down and Destroy the Jedi AI. It's pretty much anything we can. Like the hat, for example. Like this is the hat from a couple years ago. We're doing a little different this year. It's going to be more like a fitted. I actually got like a sample one somewhere in here. This is like a trucker style. The other one's going to be like a solid
Like a
gray.
cap.
So that's in the, we're trying to like balance out the tiers, make sure that, kind of keep the percentages in line in terms of what we expect people to contribute, how we expect the other side. I'll say like the ultimate net that we get, I'll put it that way, of each donation, just to try to keep it kind of fair across the board. The uncut sheets are really cool too. Again, if you're a collector or an old school, well, that's really mostly probably for collectors, but that's like the top donors. And one of the tricky things with that is that we want to make them all the same, but it's I might have talked about this on one of my other visits on your show. Like PC has a lot of uncut sheets, and they're very difficult to sort through. They're very awkward. So it's a matter of we want to go there. We want to make sure that we have like and it's going to be based a little bit on, how many top tier donors do we have? Okay, if we have 25 rare, I don't know, Death Star 2, okay, let's pull them. Or maybe if we have, you know, 28 donors and I see that we have like extra 14 of this and an extra 15 of this one. Okay, we'll do like a split. And we'll just kind of, but we don't want to like, I think it would be a slippery slope to allow people to just like pick random ones or, do a different one for everybody or do it totally randomly. So that's, I'm trying to get a little more clarity on that. It's just, it's a difficult process to do and it's a lot of coordination. But that is something that people are pretty,
Yeah. So let's quickly walk through the tiers. So you got four tiers here. You got $100, 200. So really you want to donate minimum. You can donate $10 if you want, but to qualify the program, 100, 200, 300, 500. Those are the four tiers.
Mhm.
And I think the best tier is probably tier 2 or 3, in my opinion, as far as, unless you want an uncut sheet. But
Yeah, I think
it's
True
nothing.
is probably always considered the best value. You get the free event voucher, which if you're going to a major weekend, any one of the 5 or 6 majors throughout the course of the year, or if you do the online championship series, which is open format, but that pays for, you can almost think of it as like 150 in a way. And that'll get you the anthology box, the Darksaber anthology box, get you one deck box, and a handful of other things like it gets you the printouts, which people really like. We get them on good paper. Those are ones. Another item that I've been surprised at how much people like them. And we give any new card that came out in 2023, any card that was eroded, which there wasn't too many, but any like alternate images that recently came off their exclusivity period, any updated images, which are, and these are the types of things I kind of go in more detail on in that video. So check that out. But
Yeah, I'll leave a video, the link for all this stuff in the video
Mhm.
description, including the donation link for folks that just want to donate. So it opens the 15th, and then it goes until December 15th. This is it goes until mid-April.
No, we're gonna do March 31st because then on
March.
April 1st we're gonna say, okay, we know how much each thing we need to order. Let's order them as soon as
Sure.
possible. And one of the FAQs that we have is some people find out about this program in like June. They'll be like, hey, can I still donate and get the incentives? And odds are probably, but we just can't make any guarantees on those. If I have the supply left over, I'll definitely, we'll do it as if you were basically donating within the window. And one thing I just want to stress too, like if you have any questions on any of this, just send me an email, marketing@starwarsccg.org. We do like, there's something that people would ask a lot about, but it is something you can do. You can do installment payments. You don't have to do it all at once. The late stuff I mentioned. One thing I do want to stress too is that if you're a European player or you're anywhere in the world, really, not just the US, like these donations support all types of initiatives. And that's something that has changed over the last, I'd say 4 or 5 years, where we're making the support for in-person majors more equivalent between the US and Europe. It used to be kind of Europe took care of their own prize support, US did theirs. But if you are familiar, you've gone to recent events, it's a lot of similar items. Like the cooler bags, we use them at the European Championship. The deck boxes we use at the European Championship for participation in the first year. So that's one thing that when I heard that, I was like, oh no, I hope people in Europe, players in Europe, don't think, oh, I'm in Europe, none of this is going to get back to me and support me, and the stuff that's the PC pays for and pushes is not really going to reach me at all, because that's not true.
Yeah. Well, this is, I think all the information people need is going to be video description. I encourage you. I'll be donating again this year. I think this is my maybe 4th year doing it, but have really enjoyed the mail day. Sometimes a couple mail days of getting some really unique stuff, picking out virtual cards that I want in the sheet. That's one of the incentives this year. And excited for this play mat. That's actually probably the coolest thing to me. And Jared, any kind of final thoughts here for folks?
Yeah, no, just thank you, and thank you to everyone who has supported the PC in the past. I can't stress, and the future and present this year, I can't stress how important it is. Like, that was a great point you made, Matt, about just keeping this game going, keeping this community going, and keeping the momentum, because it's all volunteer led, and I think it's in some respects it's a little more delicate than people might have become accustomed to. That it's really held up by very, very dedicated people who are doing this. They're not getting paid. They're doing it out of a lot of just personal satisfaction and love for this game that now has been out of print for 22 years. So just a big thank you. And like I said, yeah, just check out if you have any questions, reach out to me, and I'm looking forward to an awesome 2024.
I agree. And I think every year that passes from the year it was printed, it gets a little more challenging. Sealed product gets a little more scarce. People just age out of stuff, whatever. It gets a little more challenging every year. And you guys have really stepped up to the plate. And, it's an expensive world out there, right? And everything has gotten more expensive over the last 3 or 4 years as well. So it costs money to keep the lights on. I know it's always awkward to ask for money, but I think this is a great little way to support a game that has given me thousands of hours of enjoyment. So I hope that kind of resonates with some folks. But I think we're gonna call it there. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and check out the links in the video description to find out how you can donate. So thanks so much, Jared.
Yep. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, everyone.